loud. Thank you, Jesus. Somebody holler, thank you, Jesus. Boy, shaking your head like you done lost your mind. Thank you, Jesus. And he pulled me out. It's better said, he pulled me over on eagle's wings. In other words, I could have left you where you was. I could have left you toiling. I could have left you struggling. But when you opened your mouth and called on me, I pulled you. I'm so glad that he didn't leave me in the world. I'm so glad that he pulled me out of darkness, brought me in his marvelous light. I'm so glad that he saw me while I was toiling and walking on the water of life and delivered me out of peril. I'm so glad. I said, I'm so glad about it. I said, I'm so glad about it that he pulled me. The devil was pushing, but Jesus was pulling me. And so this text, it seems like on first glance that it's not much there. But you would have to have gone through something to get something out of something that refuses to give. Tell somebody, tell them, did you know we can get water from rocks now? Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah. The best water Israel ever tasted came out of a rock of flint. That's mind-blowing. If you know what flint is the thing that you can strike to produce a spark that can cause a fire. Fire is not supposed to yield water. But when God is in it, fire can come out of water. Touch somebody, tell them that's your miracle right there. Whenever you're in need of, just don't doubt God. He pours fire out of water, water out of rocks, because he's God all by himself. Let's just visit just a little bit and I'm going to close. Amen. But somebody holler, he brought me over on eagle's wings. Testify to one person, tell them I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. Somebody claim they lied, but I'm sorry. So when the storms of life are raging, I don't run from them, I run to them, I jump in. Let two people tell us, why don't you catch some wind? Catch some wind! Catch some wind! Eagles don't soar when I win. My second wind, now you're running away. And so, people are running from trouble. But you can't have triumph without trouble. You can't have victory without a fight. Some of y'all, when you was in the world, that's all you did was start fights. God saved and you don't want to fight no more. But salvation is not a fight. You're fighting for your soul. You're fighting for your life. Growing up in church, remember how, man, you can tear that church up on Sunday night, and by next Sunday they've been and built it back again. Because we'd be shouting in, there'd be somebody that stand up and sing that song, I'm ready for my life. I'm ready for my life. We'd be clapping, I'm ready for people. Ready for my life. If anybody asks you, what's the matter with me? Just tell them I'm sanctified, Holy Ghost filled. I got Jesus. Now all y'all that's been saved for the last 10 years are like, what in the world are they talking? But this thing, you got to run for it. You have to contend for it. And every day you got to fight for it. Amen. And if you ain't willing to fight for it, then you ain't willing to be saved. And so when I go to this text here, in this first verse, he says, in the third month. 3 jumps out to me because 3 is dealing with resurrection. It is dealing with being lifted up out of something. It is no mistake that we chose Exodus today. Exodus, the Greek exit, coming out of bondage, coming out of trouble, coming out of poverty, coming out of sickness, coming out of sin, coming out of craziness. Today I am coming out of it. No matter what it is, today I see the exit sign. All right. And with God, every coming out of begins with coming up. So first is coming up out of. So this is what he's talking about. You coming up out of dead stuff. Things that thought it had you bound. You coming up. So in the third month. Somebody said that's March, ain't it? Well, you can say what you want. But in the third month. In the third month, 3. When the children of Israel were gone forth, what? Out of. I'm going to use the third month, the third day, number 3, to show you I could have brought you out on 1.
All right. That's right.
I could have did it in 2. I just decided this time to do it in 3. What did the writer say? He delivers in the 6th trouble. Oh, this time he's giving you 3. And then the third month you're coming out of. Who am I talking to? You've been in something so long that you've gotten used to it.
All right.
And you know the children of Israel were in Egypt so long they loved it. How dare Moses come to deliver us out of this? How dare he? Don't he understand? People love bondage when they've been in this so long. You've been broke so long. You love it. You don't want me to come in there and tell you, come on. You like people. So it's going to take a up, out, up. So on this third month, I'm going to come take you out of the land of Egypt.
Yes.
When are you going to do it, God? Because I got a lot of people prophet lying to me. God said, I'm God. I'm going to do it the same day. Watch people, all their prophecies is 9 months later. Come on. When they ain't at your church preaching no more. In 3 weeks, when I'm gone, faith is N-O-W. When God does a thing, he does it now. If you believe him, it will be evident to your eyes now. If you don't believe him, then maybe perhaps as you go, you might see. But you're going to have to believe God for this. And so he's going to do it the same day they came unto the wilderness of Sinai. When they came there, they're in this valley of Rephidim. God told him, Moses, you tell them to come out here. Tell them when they get in front of the mountain to stop. Because I want to know, are they ready to go forward? So Moses had to speak to God, come down, speak to the children of Israel, go back and tell God what the children of Israel say. So my question to y'all is, what do you want me to tell God? Are you ready to do all that he said to do? That's what he wanted to hear before we go forward. See, people are trying to go forward. You haven't made up your mind. You have no resolution. You're not ready. And so God said, okay, all right, I know how to deal with them. Put them before the mountain. Let them stay there. Let them camp. Pitch their tents. But you tell them, if you go down to verse 20, you read this whole chapter, God tell them, don't you come near this mountain. Don't you touch this mountain. This is where I dwell. You touch this mountain, you're going to die. Did y'all know God will go to killing people? Yes. And when they brought the ark over, told them don't touch it, that ark slipped off of there, and the sons went to grab it and fell dead. Yes, David said, I'm going to drop this off at somebody's house. The closest house was Obed-Edom. Isn't it something how the thing that people think is going to curse you end up blessing you? See, if you read this chapter, they better not, especially if you get down to 12, they weren't supposed to, don't you touch this mountain. Anybody touch this mountain, you're going to fall dead. God don't play. Y'all be doing a funeral. Somebody be whispering, what happened? What happened? You have cancer? No. They just sick? No. What happened then? You don't just handle God any kind of way. That's what happens. When you touch that mountain, anybody touch that mountain, it's over. And can't nobody do nothing about it. People get mad. You get mad if you want to. What you gonna do? When the author of life decides to take life, ain't nothing you can do. You don't play around with him. Be like, okay, God, whatever you want to do. So they're in this desert place. And I'm going to do this and I'm going to close. And Moses in verse 9 went up unto God. People don't have the respect of the men of God, the women of God, the people of God today. That God uses his men. No matter what they look like. I don't care if I had all my hair shuffled in the middle. You be saying, well, I don't think God with him, but he got a weird haircut. Well, one brother had locust and mild honey. And dressed up in potato sacks. And had the anointing. Then the person with the $3,000 suit had no power. And so he does things, amen. And I tell you, the book of Ezekiel is one of the most heaviest of the books. If you go through that, man, you see that he dealt with Ezekiel in a way that I don't think he dealt with anybody. When the man's wife died, he tells the man, don't you even grieve for her. Dealt with him with cutting his hair. He had a crazy haircut. That's God. You know if it's too crazy, God got to be in there somewhere, or that man really lost his mind. Let me get back here and close. So he tells Moses, went up unto God, and God called unto him out of the mountain, saying, thus shalt thou say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel, speaking to the spiritual portion of the house, ye have seen. So all you people that like to see stuff, and in your life you have seen. You've seen the lump disappear. You've experienced healing in your body. You've seen when you were supposed to die and couldn't die. Oh yeah. Some people expected you to die. And you didn't die. Folk who were supposed to be praying for you to live was ready to preach your home going. But God stayed. So you have seen. You prayed over your children. And God kept them. You experienced some things, but he kept them. They're still alive. You have seen they were supposed to foreclose on you. You've seen them driving in the neighborhood getting ready to repo your car. And all of a sudden they just left your car. You're still driving. You've seen what I have done, what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bore you on eagle's wings. Sent Moses into Pharaoh and told him to let my people go. He wouldn't for a while. I touched his heart, and he did. I went back and touched his heart again, and he didn't. That's the sovereignty of God. Touched him to free him, then touched him to chase him. Because he knew what they were feeling. We ought to go back. You brought us out and you died. We're going back. He said, all them chariots. That was God's way of saying, oh no, you ain't. And we sit up in church later on, blessed, the beneficiaries of the awesome acts of God. And we want to act like it's because we made wise decisions. Please. If God didn't chase you away from the mess you loved more than him, you still be swinging for it right now. If God didn't chase you away from that man, you still be going after him. He ain't chasing you away from that woman, you'll be trying to call her right now. But he chased them. And when he chased them, they saw him coming. Chariots and armies. Pharaoh coming. They had nowhere to go because they had water in front of them. Now they're looking at Moses, because that's what people are going to do. They're going to blame the pastor. It's your fault. And God said, and Moses cried to God. God said, Moses, Henry, you talking to me? What's in your hand? Stretch it out. Took the rod, stretched it out. What happened? The water receded. It wasn't muddy ground they went over on you all. It was dry ground. That's a miracle. Right before your eyes. When God performs the miraculous before your eyes, you should never, ever forget it. It went on dry ground. And when Pharaoh them got into the area where the water had receded, the water started closing in. So the same water that drowned Pharaoh delivered the Israelites. See, this is the thing you got to get. The same thing that's hurting non-believers is blessing believers. We were sitting up in church, 2, 3, 4 years ago, everybody testifying about all the trouble and the cuts and people losing their job and people's houses. I'm like, man, please. Hey, the earth is the Lord. And the fullness thereof. He'll take from one, give it to another. And then the people that used to live there drive by, see you living there. That's right. The people that used to work there come by there, see you working, sitting at their desk. You sitting up in church crying and hollering. I wish I had a new sermon this morning. Cut out all the hollering. God's got this thing. You got to have to trust him all the way. So he bore you over on eagle's wings. And you have seen what I did. I'm closing now. And I have bore you on eagle's wings. And listen to this. I can't even get into this. And brought you over unto myself. So he's dealing with not only promise and purpose, but also destiny. Everything that's going on in your life is used by God to bring you to himself. Some people that won't go to church, he'll let something happen, chase you right to church. Ain't nothing at home gonna save you, trust me. Better get on up and come to church, get some word, and get in a deeper relationship with the Lord and hold on. But he bore me over. Say that with me one time. He bore me over. On eagle's wings. That's how I need it. Come on, put your hands together. Get down. Amen. I'm going to ask everyone to please stand if you would. Whatever your needs might be of him today. If you need salvation, if you need prayer, whatever you need from him, I want you to walk out here in faith and say, Lord, I need you in my life. He wants to be the one that bears you on eagle's wings. He wants you to soar. He wants to carry you. When you can't walk yourself, but you're going to have to come. Because I know who holds my future. And his word, the living, come on, just because he lives. Clap your hands for these in the coming. Some of you have some issues in your life that only God can. And only God can fix. Why don't you walk down and say, Lord, I'm casting all of my cares upon you because you care for me. I'm trusting you. I'm laying this down at your feet. I can't do this myself. But my faith and my trust is in God. If that's you, why don't you come standing here? We're going to pray. We're going to turn it over to Jesus.